Okay, welcome guys to another 3D market commentary. Today is Thursday, March 11th, so I hope you guys are having a good trading week so far. My name is Becky, so if you turn your head a little bit, you'll see my email address there, becky@tradictive.com. So you can email me if you have questions about anything that I cover, or trading questions in general. You can email me, becky@tradictive.com. There's also this link here, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky. Now, why do I want you to use that one? A couple of reasons. First of all, let me just bring it up here. First of all, if you go to that link, you'll have this bit here where you can set yourself up with a free membership. Once you have a free membership, you'll be able to get the market commentary or the market news flash that I'm going to go through, that we go through every day. So you'll get that in written form every day. So that's one way of doing that, is to sign up for a free membership through that link, tradewithufos.com/Becky. And what it also allows you to do is come down and ask questions in a public setting. In this section here, you can come and ask questions publicly. Now, why is that important? I'll just scroll down a little bit here. You'll see that there are questions that people have already asked and answers to those questions. So we prefer that you ask questions in a public setting so that other people can learn from the answers and we can all work together as a community to learn and grow together. Of course, you can email if you prefer, but of course there is this link. We would prefer that, but it's up to you. Okay, so let's just make sure that we cover the disclaimers. We need to get those done. So there we go. Oh. No, did that wrong. There you go, it's being highlighted there on the top of the screen. It's important for you guys to read them and understand them, not just because it's sort of legally necessary, because it is important to understand that when we do these kind of videos, any kind of video where we're showing you how we do stuff, it is intended to be a demonstration of how we use our methodology and how we use our products. Of course, it's up to you as to whether or not you ignore it completely, you adopt it entirely, you mold it into something else you're already doing, whether you trade it live, whether you trade it simulated. Those things are all up to you as an individual trader. Okay, so let's move on and let me show you what we're going to go through. So the market commentary, what is that? What happens is every day we send out a news flash, looks something like this. It's an email that has information on 5 of the major markets in the world. I'm going to pull up a chart as well so that we can see that. And then I can show you what we mean and where we're getting this information from. So 5 of the major markets in the world, we look at the S&P, oil, gold, Bitcoin, and the US dollar. So these are 5 major markets. Now, you might not trade these directly, but a lot of them, especially the US dollar, have a lot of influence on other markets. So hopefully this helps you in some way. Now, we look at a daily chart of each of these markets. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. So if you're using bigger time frames or smaller time frames, of course, this might be different than the information we're giving here. If you use daily charts in any capacity, then again, this will be relevant. Now, what do? We go through what's called a 3D approach. So what does a 3D approach mean? It means we look at 3 separate things. So we're looking at market climate, firstly. That is where we are using this piece of technology here. It's called our Auto Climate app. What that app is doing is scanning through the markets and basically coming back and telling us in the form of dots and colours and size of dots as to whether or not we have probability to the upside, to the downside, or nowhere. So if we have a thick blue dot, let's say for example one of these, that tells us we have probability to the upside. If we have a thick red dot, it tells us we have probability to the downside. If we have a thin dot of either colour, whatever colour it is, that tells us we do not have probabilities either way, and so we would normally keep away from markets like that. So again, it just gives us an idea of where we have probabilities, so be aware of that. We are also then going to be looking at unfilled orders. Unfilled orders, otherwise known as UFOs, are these little babies here. Now they look like little flying saucers, but the UFO stands for unfilled orders. And what that means is where we have, again, it's technology that's scanning through the markets and coming back and letting us know where we have big stacks of buy orders. There are big stacks of buy orders, they could be likely to push price up. Also big stacks of sell orders. I'll show you a sell UFO in a minute. There's not one on this chart, but I'll show you one in a minute. A sell UFO would tell us where we have a bunch of sell orders that again are likely to push price down. So it's helping us answer the question of if we're going to buy, where would we buy? If we're going to sell, where would we sell? We want to be buying with other buy orders. We want to be selling with other sell orders. It gives us more probability of those orders beating the opposing side and pushing price either up or down. So we'll look at those per market as well. And then we'll look at market volatility, which is basically understanding how fast we would expect price to move or how far we would expect it to move within given periods of time. So we'll get to that per market as well. So that's what we do in the, that's what we show you in the newsflash, and that's what we go over in this market commentary. So we'll have a look. Okay, so starting with the S&P, we already have this market in front of us. The climate for the S&P tells us at the moment we have a current upwards climate, but it's not confirmed. So that means as we have this thin blue dot, as we said, thin dots of either colour tell us we don't have probabilities. So yes, it's blue, which means it's slightly to the upside, but not confirmed, no probability to the upside, or not enough probability to the upside. So we would keep away from markets like that, again, on this time frame specifically. These stats, what do these stats mean? Now the stats tell us how long that market usually goes in that direction for versus how long we are currently going in that direction. So what this tells us is that normally the S&P, we're using the ES here, which is the futures contract that represents the S&P, which is the top 500 US stocks in that index. Now, if you didn't understand anything I just said, just understand we are looking at a representation of the US stock market. Usually on a daily chart, this market would go up for 8.84 candles. We're going to round that up. By the way, whatever the decimal place is, we're going to round it up. So 9 candles there. Normally goes up for 9 candles, so 9 days. And we're on candle number 2, which tells us that we have, based on what usually happens based on statistics, we have probability of a continuous move to the upside, at least for another, say, week or so. Now, bear in mind, it's not a confirmed climate, so we don't actually have probabilities to the upside yet, but if it was to confirm itself in the next day or so, we do have room for it to move continuously up based on what usually happens. Okay, so that's climate. Now we come and look at buy and sell UFOs. Now, there's no sell UFOs on this chart, as we said. There's nothing, we're pretty much all-time highs, nearly. No price data above us, which means no sell orders above us that we can see. In terms of buy orders, we have this one here, which is relevant to this one here. The numbers for that are 3878.75 to 3796.25. That's the range of price where we find this stack of buy orders. Then it comes to market volatility. So we can see from the VIX, we use the VIX, and we can see from that we would expect a movement up or down in one day of 54.89 points. In 1 week, we would expect a movement up or down of 120.83 points. And in 1 month, we would expect movement up or down of 251.54 points. Now, just to say, these are not exact. It's unlikely it's going to move exactly that amount, but it just gives us an idea as to generally how far we expect those prices to move within these given periods of time, either up or down. So we can then use our climate and our UFOs to help us figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen, and therefore makes it easier for us to make our decisions. So that's the S&P. So overall, the S&P, unconfirmed climate, and so it would be something that we would keep away with overall for the time being. Now, when it comes to the next market is oil, so we'll look at that in a second. In the meantime, just to say here, if you're somebody that is watching this and maybe you've already taken our Forex course, but you want to learn about futures, or maybe you've never taken any courses before and you're new to trading and you want to understand how to build a trading plan. Maybe you're trading already and it's going okay, but you're struggling with your psychology. We do courses and all of those things and more. So you can go in and take a look at the website and have a look at the courses. Most of the courses come with a complimentary 3-month access to the Auto UFOs and Auto Climate. Now, Auto Climate by itself, by the way, it's down here, is a free app. Auto UFOs is a paid-for app. So depending on what platform you use, depends on the cost of Auto UFOs. On TradingView, which is the one I'm using right now, they are $34 a month. So if you purchase a course, then you get 3 months access to those Auto UFOs. Okay, so moving on to oil, let's just move down there. So CL1, that's what we're going to look at. Again, we are looking at the futures contract that represents oil, the continuous futures contract. Okay, so when it comes to oil, we have a current upwards climate. I've hurt my finger, so it's hard for me to draw things. There we go. Okay, so market climate, we have a current confirmed upwards climate, which is a thick blue dot, which tells us we have probability to the upside. Now, when it comes to stats, usually this market would go up for 6.47 candles. We're going to round that up. Goes up for 7 candles normally before it changes, and we're on candle number 6. So coming to the end of what is a usual move to the upside, that's not to say we won't surpass it. Of course, we get statistics and averages based on things that go over it and things that go under it, and we come up with something in the middle. So based on what usually happens, it would go up for 7 candles. But that's not to say we won't surpass it. But just be aware we are coming to the end of what would be a usual move to the upside. When it comes to UFOs, I lost it now. There we go. When it comes to UFOs, we see that we have our buy UFO just here, which is slightly further below us than we are to the sell UFO. So the numbers for that are 57.29 to 54.81. And then we have our closest stack of sell orders, our sell UFO, which is there. Numbers for that are 69.90 to 68.46. At the moment, it looks like we are on our way to that sell UFO. So we've got confirmed upwards climate, probability that it continues for another day or so, and we have room there until we hit the stack of sell orders. So I wouldn't be surprised to see price continue to the upside until we hit this stack of sell orders and then see a change in direction. But we'll see. That would be what I would think, but we'll see with that. When it comes to volatility, we see that we would expect movement up or down in one day of 1.54 points. In 1 week, it would be 3.39 points up or down. And in 1 month, it would be 7.07 points up or down. Again, that's up or down within these given periods of time. It's not, although those are specific numbers, it's unlikely to move exactly that amount. Just gives us an idea of the movement we can expect in this market within those given periods of time. We'll use climate and auto UFOs to help us figure out in which direction and for how long that's likely to happen. Okay, so moving on to the next market. The next market will be gold. Again, overall with crude oil, we have probability to the upside, at least for another day or so. But bear in mind, we have those sell orders potentially in the way, depending on how fast that moves. We'll move on to the next market, which is gold. Again, just to say, like I said, auto UFOs, you might have already taken courses, you might not want to take courses, you might just want to use the technology to help you here. And that's fine. You can subscribe to the auto UFOs depending on which platform you use or which software you use will depend on how much it costs. On TradingView, it's $34 a month, or you can have yearly discounts. So again, you can check those out if you'd like to. Again, the Auto Climate app is a free app. So once you've got your free membership, you can get the Auto Climate app and download that. Okay, so looking at gold. So again, we are looking at the continuous futures contract for gold. So again, we are looking at a representation of gold for those that don't know what futures are. Now, when it comes to the auto climate, or when it comes to the market climate, we have a confirmed downwards climate. And this just goes to show something I was just saying, which is, of course, sometimes we can go past what is normal. So we have it looks like it's literally just changed there, actually, on gold. Okay, so we had a thick red dot, a confirmed downwards climate. It looks like literally within the last half an hour or so the climate has changed. That sometimes happens on a daily chart, not very often. So just to say here, what was happening is that we were on 11 candles out of a usual move down of 7, which would tell us that we'd gone past what is normal and that we would be expecting a change in climate. And that is actually what's happened. It's now become an unconfirmed upwards climate, which again just tells us that we've now lost probability to the downside, and it may be turning to the upside. We're not sure yet because obviously it's unconfirmed. So again, on gold at the moment, it would be keeping away from that based on what we see on the chart here, which is an unconfirmed climate. And again, not surprising considering we had gone past what is normal in terms of probability to the downside. Okay, when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, the buy UFOs we have are just here. The numbers for that are 1652.8 to 1624.4. That's the range of price where we find these buy orders. Sell orders are just here. And the numbers for that are 1782.2 to 1815.2. So again, these are where we have the range of price where we have sell orders. When it comes to volatility on gold, we would expect a movement up or down in one day of 20.25 points. In a week, up or down of 44.58 points. And in a month, up or down of 92.80 points. Again, that's up or down. And we would use our climate and UFOs to help us figure out in which direction that is more likely to happen. Okay, moving on to the next market. And before I do so, just to say, again, you may be somebody that's taken courses, not taken courses. Maybe you already use the apps, maybe you don't. Maybe you're somebody that wants to watch people that run this methodology and use this technology. Maybe you want to watch them trade and you want to understand more about how the methodology works. You can follow us on a coaching basis. The coaching costs $21 a month, or you can get discounts for the year. So you can join us coaching. There's also stuff that we do for free on YouTube as well. Okay, so next market is the dollar. Now the dollar, US dollar, is I think fair to say the most influential market in the world. It is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every single day. So even if you do not trade, let's say you trade Forex, but you don't trade dollar pairs, or even if you don't trade US markets or something like that, it is important that you understand what's going on in the dollar. It will affect other things. So understand the correlations and understand the dollar itself. So when it comes to climate, and again, we see a situation here where we've gone past what is normal. We have a confirmed upwards climate. We have a thick blue dot, probability there to the upside. Usually this market would go up for 5 candles, and we're on candle number 9. I've just rounded that up, right? So 4.91 has become 5. So we have gone nearly twice as far as to what is a usual move to the upside. Of course, we could continue to surpass that. It looks like we're on our way to hit this stack of buy orders. If we hit a stack of buy orders, we expect that to push price up. So it could be that this climate continues for even longer. Of course, the further we go past what is usual in terms of a move to the upside or the downside, the more likely it is to change direction, and the less likely it is to keep doing that. You pull an elastic band and keep pulling, it's less likely to allow you to keep pulling it, and it's more likely to retract back on itself. That's kind of what happens here in the market. So be aware here that we have gone past what is normal, but we do have probability to the upside overall. When it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have our buy orders here, which are these that we just pointed out. That's 91.45, so 0.405 to 90.635. And then our sell orders, I'm just going to squidge price down a little bit actually so we can see that better. Our sell orders will be here. So these are 93.245 to 94.330. Again, that's where we have our range of price, where we have a stack of sell orders. Based on volatility, we would expect movement up or down in one day of 0.40 points, in a week up or down of 0.87 points, and in a month up or down of 1.82 points. So that's the dollar again. Overall probability to the upside, but be aware that we are lacking probability of a continuous move up based on what usually happens. Okay, so coming down to Bitcoin, which will be the last market that we look at. Again, like I said before, we run things on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see not just this market commentary, but sessions on futures and Forex and options and stocks and psychology and sharpening sessions where we run through sort of specifics of the methodology and things like that. So you can join us on YouTube and you can follow us there. The coaching is slightly more closed and we go for a little bit longer and we have more time within the private coaching sessions. It's up to you which one you follow, but there is a lot on YouTube if you want to use that. Okay, so let's have a look here. Back to Bitcoin, that's the market that we are now looking at. Now, Bitcoin obviously has been in the news a lot. It always is. It's something that even if you don't trade it or even if you don't invest in it, you're probably aware that it's a pretty volatile market, I would say, in terms of it moves a lot. That's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It just is. Just be aware of that if you're going to get involved. So we see at the moment we have a confirmed upwards climate, thick blue dot, probability to the upside. Now, usually this market would go up for, who knows? Now, the reason that we don't have stats on this is because Bitcoin is a relatively new market. And so on a daily chart, we simply do not have enough data points in order to say what usually happens. It would be kind of making it up or kind of drawing conclusions based on not enough data to say that it usually does this or it usually does that. So that's why we're actually in the dark here when it comes to the climate in terms of what is usual. Now we can see just based on recent activity that it does tend to go up for more than it goes down. But again, not enough data to really say that that is true or not. We are currently on candle number 4 to the upside. So overall there with Bitcoin, probability to the upside. Now when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, this also helps us with probability to the upside because we have a big stack of buy orders just here, 52,600 to 49,602.5, and no sell orders. No sell orders that the Auto UFO app is picking up above us, which means we have essentially clear run to the upside until sell orders come in. So we have a confirmed probability to the upside with our climate, and we have buy orders close by and sell orders at the moment nowhere around. So overall probability to the upside there with Bitcoin. Now, as I said, Bitcoin is volatile, so be aware of this. we'd expect move up or down in one day of 3,613.16 points. In a week, it would be 7,954 up or down, and in a month, it would be 16,557.57. These are big numbers. If you look at them as percentages of the current value, it's a lot. So again, just be aware. Volatility is not necessarily good or bad. If you're on the right side of it, that's a good thing. If you're on the wrong side of it, it's a bad thing. Be aware, in Bitcoin and cryptos in general, they tend to be more volatile than other, maybe more established markets, I guess. So just be aware of that if you're going to be trading. Okay, so that actually brings me to our weekly economic calendar to just make a point about this here. Now, we show you high impact news on many different currencies, because obviously you may be trading all over the world, you may trade currency pairs or whatever. So just be aware, if you're trading, for example, so today is Thursday, if you're trading the euro, there's actually already been, by the looks of the time there, this is Eastern time, it looks like it's already been or very soon to come out, news on the euro that could create a high impact. Now, why is that important to know? It's important to know because if there's high impact, we may see volatility. And again, volatility might be good or bad, but what that might mean is that your risk is slightly increased. So it's not to say that you take this and you say, right, okay, there's high impact news on the euro, I'm not going to trade it. We don't use the news or actually what happens to help us figure out whether we buy or sell. That's a subjective interpretation of the news. We want to use objective technology to help us make that decision. But it's just important to know that if you have loads of news coming out on a particular currency and you trade that currency, or it correlates with something that you trade, maybe you place 1 or 2 trades, not 3 or 4 or 5. Maybe you reduce your risk a little bit. Maybe you avoid it entirely. The choice of what you do with that is up to you, but just be aware there is high impact news coming out today on the euro, and then tomorrow we have euro, Canadian dollar and US dollar, but we'll cover that tomorrow on tomorrow's session. One last point to make, you may have questions, you may be thinking this technology looks great but I'm not sure I understand it, or maybe you're thinking I already trade stocks, I'd love to be able to learn how to trade, I don't know, options or Forex or something like that. Again, if you're unsure on those things and you just want to talk it through with somebody, you can schedule a clarification call you can self-schedule a clarification call with one of our experts to go through those things and figure out what might help you. It may be that you shouldn't be trading at all, we'll help you figure that out as well. And if you should be trading, we'll help you figure out what you should be using, what's going to help you out. So any other questions, you can, of course, email me, becky@tradictive.com, or you can go to that link, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky, so that you can set yourself up for a free membership, ask questions in a public space. And again, if you don't already have this market commentary coming to you every day, the news flash, then you can, again, get a free membership there, and you'll get that every day. So what we just went through, you'll get it through in written form, so you don't necessarily have to listen to me go through it. We explain it every day just so that we can expand on these concepts for those that might not necessarily understand what climate and UFOs and volatility mean. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully that helps make it more understandable for you guys. Otherwise, is me all done. So like I said, email if you have questions or go to tradewithufos.com/Becky. I will be back tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a good trading day. I'll see you tomorrow morning and have a good one. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.